Hello gentlemen, and welcome back to Life 2.0. Today we're jumping into a topic that's becoming more and more relevant by the minute. I think it's a byproduct of feminism, which is hilarious. But we're going to be jumping into why it is successful men are choosing to remain single. Now, I'm not talking about guys that can't get dates. I'm not talking about guys who don't have the confidence, who aren't Chad. I'm talking about guys who have everything that a woman is looking for, all the resources she could desire. He's probably good looking, probably tall, just to rub it in. But he doesn't want to get married. Go figure, huh? Yeah, he's choosing to remain single because it doesn't fit with his life vision. So join me today as we tick down the top 10 reasons why successful guys are choosing to remain single. So just to make it fun, I'm going to be listing from the least important to the most important. So starting with number 10 and then going down to number 1, so be sure to stay to the end. Number 10, and this one's probably the most obvious to most of you guys, is return on investment. So rich guys that are conscious about building wealth, are always looking at the return on investment that they're going to get. And when you look at marriage in particular, well, the ROI is terrible. First of all, the investment of time, energy, and money for the return that you're going to get is, just way out of whack. And then you look at the risks of divorce and emotional upset and potential financial loss that's associated with it. Well, why would anybody in their right mind, especially a man who's thinking about his own financial future, invest in a marriage? The risks are just way, way, way too high. The minute you put that ring on her finger, she now has access to half your wealth. And and if you've got kids and all that, man, the emotional toll from a marriage can be extraordinary. And if we've learned anything, is that the woman that you marry is never the woman that you divorce. For some reason, there's this transformation that occurs during the course of this relationship that leads to her turning into some kind of vindictive bitch, and she will try to take everything she can from you. So yeah, return on investment, absolutely not worth it. Number 9, and we touched on this a little bit already, protection of assets, but also the protection of your reputation. Whew. Money has value, but it's transient. It comes and it goes, and you can always get more money. But your reputation is something that can stick with you. Now, you have no control over it, but you do have a little bit of influence over how it is portrayed. For example, if you get into a marriage with a woman that has the intention of divorcing you at some point, well, it's very likely that in order to make the case for divorcing a successful guy, she's going to have to destroy your reputation. She's going to have to call the cops on you. She's going to talk to her parents about you, her friends about you. She's going to tell everyone in her network why you're not good enough to be her husband. Yeah, that really gets in your head a little bit, When I remember going through my own divorce, and some of my wife's best friends were people that I knew really, really well before she even came along. And she was using them as a sounding board to talk about our relationship. And obviously she's throwing me under the bus. Yeah, so now when I see these people, at town events or whatever, I go to like Chamber of Commerce meetings and that sort of thing, it's a little awkward, It's a little awkward because, I know that she probably, I wouldn't say destroyed my reputation, but certainly impugned my reputation to them. And you can't get that back. Number 8, of course, is the modern dating market has been completely, distorted and twisted into something that is very difficult to recognize. I mean, obviously, dating apps have commoditized human beings. And if you've ever been on a dating app and you're swiping from left or right, you're making these snap judgments based on someone's appearance. it kind of robs you of your soul to a certain degree because it's such an impersonal thing. And there's something inside us as human beings that struggles, at least as men, with the idea of rejecting a human being solely based on their photograph, you know what I mean? Or a few words they could write in a profile. So there's something effed up about that. But then you throw on top of that the general social media and the inflated egos that come with it, and this zeitgeist in our culture of, what's the right word? Self-centered, self-glorification, egocentric, the world owes me kind of attitude that is prevalent in social media. And it's most prevalent with women. And I'm going to do a video on this in the future because it's just so hilarious. But the whole concept of what do you bring to the table? What do men bring to the table? Holy shit. Oh my God. Anyway, that concept, without turning it around on themselves and saying, what do I bring to this relationship that has value to this person? What makes me an important part of this process? That just doesn't seem to exist anymore. You know, it's all about what you can do for me, you know? So it kind of turns John Kennedy's, you know, quote on its head. Ask not what you can do for your country, or what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Yeah, ask not what that guy can do for you, ask what you can do for him, you know? Then you might be worthwhile, but most women aren't. Number 7, what makes a successful man successful is that he's on a mission. He's got a vision for his life, and he's on a mission to make it happen. Why he's doing it is not important to anyone else but him. He is seeking this experience, whatever it may be, for his own reasons. And there's no way any one of us can judge it. But trying to mix in a wife and perhaps a family frequently is going to interfere with the accomplishment of that mission. And if you're one of those guys that's on a mission and you are looking to build a lot of wealth and you are maybe even thinking about impacting the world in some positive way, well, obviously, having a troublesome woman in your life is not going to fit well into that scenario. All right, number 6. Successful men have developed an immunity to manipulation, especially in relationships. Women unknowingly, and knowingly, but sometimes unknowingly, will try to manipulate men into behaving in ways that they want by running hot and cold, by using drama, by needing help, being the damsel in distress. And there's so many different manipulations that they use. And oftentimes I think these manipulations just come naturally to them. It's just what they do. It's just who they are. They're constantly testing a man to see if they can control him. And of course, once they know they can control him, it's a double-edged sword. At one time they feel great, I've got control. And then on the other hand, they're tired of him. It's like, well, if I can control you, then I don't want you. So then they're back to stage 1. Anyway, most successful men have identified this pattern in women, and they have made themselves immune to it. So they know what to watch for. They don't want to have it in their lives, and they know that most women are going to have it. And quite frankly, trying to sort through all the women and try to figure out which ones are the good ones and which ones aren't the good ones just takes too much time and energy. And so why would they bother? So yeah, they are immune to female manipulation. Number 5 is they are fed up with and want to be liberated from all those unwanted behaviors. So going through the whole courtship routine, buying the flowers, the candy, sending the emojis, constant texting, constantly trying to maintain this fragile little relationship and make this woman feel like she's secure in it, while at the same time playing the game of not getting too close and being too distant. And it's just such a bullshit game. And liberating yourself from all of these stupid experiences just grants you so much freedom and time. It's such a relief. I remember when I divorced my wife, what a relief that was, and just getting that off my shoulders. But over the last year, I have not dated anyone. And I gotta tell you, that's been a relief too. Just not having to worry about trying to attract some woman and then go through the whole process of seducing her, you know, and then deciding whether or not to sleep with her, and then sleeping with her and deciding maybe that wasn't a good idea. But you know what I mean? It's like, why do I want to do that? You know, life is too short to spend, you know, chasing down these ridiculous endeavors. But liberating yourself from the behaviors associated with all that buys you time. And that time you can spend earning money, building wealth, being independent, living more fully. So before I go down to the last 4, I wanted to mention to you guys that, first of all, I want to ask you to like and subscribe. If you're enjoying the story, you're enjoying the videos, I really appreciate your feedback and commenting and all that stuff. Anyway, a lot of the guys that have subscribed to the channel have complained in the past that they have been unsubscribed without their knowledge. And what I've learned a little bit about YouTube's algorithm these days is that if you don't turn on notifications, if you don't click that bell and turn on the notifications, you're not going to be notified or realize that a new video has dropped. Only when you are clicking on that bell is this going to show up on your feed consistently. Otherwise, what they're going to do is they're going to look at the last thing you were looking at and they're going to send you more of that. So recently, I've been considering buying like an old Mustang or something like that. So now I've got all this classic car stuff showing up in my feed, which I don't mind so much, but it's not my normal stuff. You know what I mean? So please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll get all the videos. All right, number 4, successful guys already understand the compatibility problem, that the vast majority of women are not going to be compatible with you. And in order to filter down to finding someone who is compatible, you're probably going to have to go through a lot of incompatible women to get to that one that is. It's a very time-consuming and high-risk proposition. The odds of you finding someone that is very compatible with you and your lifestyle can be very low. So if you're not willing to dedicate a lot of time and energy and a certain amount of risk into this relationship or these relationships in order to find that right person, well, it's probably just not worth it. More and more guys are building their wealth first and then considering whether they want to have a relationship, rather than getting into that relationship early in life and then trying to build the wealth. It rarely works well that way. All right, number 3, and this one I touched on just a little bit, but you could call it psychological sovereignty. And that means that you're not concerned about what anybody else thinks about the way you're living your life. You are not searching for external validation. You're internally validating all the time. So the idea that you're single or solo and you are enjoying your solitude and you are dedicating your life to your own mission, your own purposes, is something that's completely satisfying to you. Whether or not society as a whole, your mother, your sister, your friends think it's a good idea or not, is not important to you, because the validation comes from inside. It's not coming from anyone outside of you. And you feel at ease and comfortable with the decisions that you've made, and you realize that if you play out your plan the way you have in mind, you're going to get to the places that you want to go. Many successful men have learned lessons at a young age from past betrayals. This is where you realize that women, in general, do not bring the same strength of character to a relationship that men bring. So, for example, when you're going through, or when she's going through a tough time, she's struggling with her job, she's struggling with her emotions, she's struggling with health, she's struggling with her life. You know, she's got family members who are dying around her. She depends on you to get her through this experience. And you become her emotional rock. You stand there and you make it possible for her to have something solid in her life to hold on to. However, if you flip the script on this, and now you're going through something unexpected and tragic, like maybe your family has gone through a spat of bad health or deaths. Maybe your mom is the one who's sick or dying. Maybe it's you losing your job. Maybe it's you having a physical illness yourself. Well, frequently, men have found that women struggle to be that emotional rock for their men. It's very common that women will bail on men when they're going through tough times. In fact, it happens so frequently, it's practically a meme. So as a man, you've got to know that you are the foundation of that relationship. And if you have any cracks, well, you're probably not going to find any healing in your partner, for the most part. Now, it's possible that you can find a woman that will be like that will be that healing force in your life. It is possible, but it's just not common. All right, and the number one reason, here it is. Most successful men see women as a luxury they can't afford. There was a time in our history when having a woman in your life was a necessity. It was like, food, water, air, love. Having a woman in your life was critical to the functioning of your life, not just the emotional health of your life, but the functioning of your life. Well, technology's taking care of that, and if you're a successful guy, you can hire people to do most of the things that a wife would do. I guess technically you could hire them to do all the things that a wife would do. So you don't need to have a live-in wife. I think there's a crude thing, I can't remember how it goes, but if it flies, floats, or fucks, rent it. And that's what these luxury guys, that's what these rich guys are doing. That's what these wealthy, successful men are doing. They're renting it. They do not want to invest in a luxury good that is going to cost them in the long run. I think Orion Taraban used this in one of his videos a long time ago, and it had to do with the cherry on top of an ice cream sundae. It's like, when you've got the ice cream, you've got the syrup, you've got the whipped cream, you've got all the makings of the sundae, do you really need the cherry on top? The cherry on top is definitely a luxury. Now, you could say that it makes it better, and that was the argument he was making in his video, that having the cherry on top just makes it a little bit better, makes it nicer, I think is the way he put it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really have anything to do with the sundae, And so if you've made your sundae and you've got all the ingredients that you need to have the life that you want, why take the risk of that cherry? Because it's going to be expensive. You know that. That's not a risk. It's going to be expensive. But that cherry might be sour. It might be bad. Hell, it might cause botulism or something like that. Yeah, you may get a bad batch, and then what are you going to do? Yeah, so women are a luxury good. We don't need them anymore, They're just one of those things you don't need to have. So why spend the extra to get it? So let me just give a little caveat here at the end. Not all women are falling into these categories. It is possible that you will stumble across some woman in some place at some time, probably in real life, probably not on a dating app, probably not on social media. It's going to be a rare set of circumstances. But it is possible that you could come across someone like this, that is a good, healthy, nurturing, loving person that you can have a healthy relationship, who will support you in your endeavors and be that partner that you so desire. That does exist in the world. But in order for you to find that kind of person, you need to be the best person that you can be, and you need a hell of a lot of luck. Yeah, I mean, just a hell of a lot of luck. You got to have that as a goal, and you got to be clear about it in your mind. So it is possible, but you're going to need to make it an intention. It can't be something that just happens randomly. All right, you guys, that's what I got for you today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and subscribe. And like I said earlier, make sure you turn on the notifications. Otherwise, you may see one of these videos, then you'll never see them again. Or worse yet, you might find yourself being unsubscribed because you missed a bunch of them. So anyway, I want to thank all you guys for your support. Please let me know what you think about this video in the comments, what your ideas are about successful men and marriage. And anyway, I'll see you next time. Until then, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.